The sky above the floating
Isn't this
city of
place
Vortalis
incredible?
glowed with a cold
The
silver
energy
light,
here is
but
just out
Caloran
of this
felt none of its
world.
beauty. He stood in the center of the grand plaza, surrounded by thousands of eyes filled with anger, fear, and disgust. The wind carried the sound of voices whispering about him, calling him names, accusing him of crimes he never committed. Caloran's hands were tied with shimmering energy cuffs. He did not resist. He knew there was no point. His people had already made their decision. They wanted him gone, erased from their lives like he had never existed. A tall council leader, covered in dark armor, stepped forward. His voice echoed across the plaza, cold as ice. Caloran of House Rethar, you are found guilty of betraying our planet. You will be exiled from Vortalis. You are no longer one of us. Caloran lifted his head, his glowing yellow eyes trembling. I did not betray anyone. You know the truth. This is a lie. But no one listened. The crowd only grew louder. Some shouted for punishment. Others demanded he be destroyed. A few simply watched with empty faces, as if he was already dead. Then Caloran saw something that hurt far more than exile. He saw his own family standing in the front row. His mother lowered her head. His father looked away. His younger sister clenched her fists, unable to even meet his eyes. They did not speak a single word in his defense. His heart cracked. If even his family did not believe him, then no one ever would. The guards dragged him toward the edge of the plaza where a small metal capsule waited, the exile pod. It was used for criminals too dangerous to keep, yet too shameful to execute. Once launched, the pod would drift into endless space until it ran out of power, or until the prisoner died. Caloran tried to speak again, but his voice broke. Please, listen to me. I saved us. I protected Vortalis. Why will no one hear the truth? The council leader turned away. We hear only what we need to hear. With a single gesture, the guards pushed Caloran inside the pod. The door closed with a heavy clang. A dim red light lit the cramped space. He had no weapons, no food, and very little oxygen. The metal walls vibrated as the countdown began. 10 seconds until he was thrown out of his world forever. Through the small window, Caloran looked at the city one last time, the place where he grew up, where he once dreamed of becoming a hero, where he believed he belonged. Now it rejected him as if he had never mattered. Why? He whispered. The pod shook violently as the engines activated. With a sudden burst of fire, it launched into the sky, rising far above the city until everything became a small glowing dot. The gravity pressed him into the seat, making it hard to breathe. Soon, the pod left the atmosphere and drifted into the cold darkness of space. Caloran was alone. Hours passed. He tried to stay calm, but the silence pressed against his ears. The pod creaked and rattled. Warning alarms began to flash. The oxygen level dropped slowly, minute by minute. The guidance system malfunctioned. The pod spun gently, stars passing in dizzy circles through the window. Caloran closed his eyes. Maybe this was how it ended. Not in battle. Not doing something meaningful. But forgotten in a drifting coffin. He thought about the crime he was accused of. He had discovered a hidden plan, a group of powerful officials secretly arranging a war for profit. When he tried to expose them, they turned the story around, accusing him instead. He thought the people would believe him. He thought justice would win. But he was wrong. Another alarm blared, louder this time. Caloran looked at the small screen in front of him. The pod had detected a gravitational pull from a nearby planet. The name flashed. Planet, Terra. Local name, Earth. He frowned. He had heard of Earth only in rumors. A primitive world with developing technology. A world untouched by galactic politics. A world considered too dangerous and unpredictable. The pod shook harder as it entered the planet's atmosphere. Fire burned across the window. Heat alarms blared. Caloran gripped the sides of the seat, teeth clenched. He had survived worse, but this time he was weak, hungry, and tired. A sharp explosion rocked the pod. Something had broken off. Smoke filled the small space. The pod spiraled downward, faster and faster, unable to slow. Caloran shut his eyes as the pod crashed into a forest with a violent impact. Trees snapped. Metal tore. Dirt and fire flew everywhere. The pod slid across the ground before finally stopping. Silence returned. Caloran groaned and pushed the door open. Cold air rushed in. He fell to the ground, exhausted. His chest burned. His limbs shook. He looked around at the dark forest. Strange insects made strange noises. The smell of Earth's soil was strong. He took a deep breath. He was still alive. But he was not alone. In the distance, he saw lights moving, getting closer. He heard vehicles approaching. Voices. Footsteps. Weapons being prepared. Humans had found him. And he had no idea if they would save him. Or end him. The forest was silent for a moment, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Caloran lay on the ground, his body aching from the crash. Smoke drifted from the broken pod behind him. His mind was still spinning, but his senses slowly returned. The lights grew closer, bright white beams cutting through the darkness. Caloran forced himself to sit up, but pain shot through his side. He winced and leaned against a tree, trying to stay alert. He didn't know what humans looked like up close. He had only seen rough images in old files. He didn't know if they were peaceful, or deadly. Crunching footsteps approached. Leaves rustled. Branches snapped. Then he saw them. 3 humans stepped into the clearing, wearing black protective gear and carrying small glowing devices. They moved carefully, like trained soldiers. Their helmets had clear visors, showing their eyes, wide, focused, and full of surprise. One of them whispered, "This thing is alive." Caloran stiffened. He didn't know their language well, but he understood the tone. Fear. Caution. Shock. Another human raised a hand. "We don't fire unless it attacks. Stay calm." Caloran's heart pounded. On his homeworld, anything unknown was treated as a threat. Attack first, ask questions later. He expected these humans to do the same. He braced for a shot, a weapon, anything. But something unexpected happened. The lead human slowly put his weapon on the ground. And then, he raised both hands in the air. A universal sign of peace. Caloran blinked. His people never used that gesture. But he had read about it in ancient human contact files. Hands up. No harm. The human took one slow step forward. "Are you hurt?" he asked gently. Caloran didn't understand every word, but he understood the meaning. He shook his head, trying to stand, but his legs gave out. The human rushed forward, catching him before he fell. This shocked Caloran more than anything. Why would a stranger help him? The human spoke again, this time softly. "It's okay. We've got you." Caloran felt a strange warmth in those words. No one from his own world had spoken to him like that in years. 2 more humans approached. They examined his wounds without fear. They talked quietly to each other, their faces focused, not hateful. One of them gently placed a blanket around Caloran's shoulders. Another gave him warm water to drink. Simple acts. But to Caloran, they felt unbelievable. On Vortalis, kindness was rare. On Earth, it seemed natural. Yet deep inside, fear still twisted in his chest. They did not know who he was, or what danger followed him. If they learned the truth, would they still help? One of the humans tapped his helmet. This is command. We found someone. Not human. Injured. We're bringing him in. Static answered, then a calm voice said, copy. Bring him safely. Do not provoke. Caloran swallowed. These humans were choosing not to harm him, even though he was a complete unknown. That alone felt unreal. The humans helped him stand. He leaned on them as they walked toward a small vehicle parked near the forest edge. Blue lights flashed softly. The door opened automatically. As they guided him inside, he noticed something strange, a gentle fear in their eyes, yes, but also curiosity. And something else he had not seen in a long time. Compassion. Inside the vehicle, one human removed his helmet, a young woman with dark eyes and a calm expression. I'm Mira, she said, touching her chest. Mira. Caloran understood. A name. He touched his chest weakly. Rin. Her face softened. Caloran, she repeated slowly. You're safe now. Safe. The word hit him like a blow. No one on his world had made him feel safe for years. The vehicle began moving. Caloran watched the forest disappear through the window. Lights of a human city glowed far away, warm, alive, peaceful. He did not know yet if these humans would accept him fully. But for the first time since his exile began, he felt hope. But that hope did not last long. As the vehicle drove, a faint beeping sound came from deep inside Caloran's chest. He froze. His heart raced. The humans noticed. What's that sound? Mira asked. Caloran's voice trembled. Tracker, inside me. The humans exchanged worried looks. Tracker. Mira repeated. From who? Caloran closed his eyes. My planet, he whispered. They are, watching. The vehicle fell silent. None of them knew that far above Earth, a second signal had already activated. Someone, something, was coming. And they were not coming to rescue him. The vehicle rushed through the dark road, its lights cutting the night like two sharp blades. Inside, Caloran sat tense, his hands shaking as the soft beeping inside his chest grew louder. Each beep felt like a countdown. Each sound reminded him that danger was moving closer. Mira leaned forward, her brows drawn tight. Caloran, who put the tracker in you? He looked down, ashamed. My leaders. They never wanted me to escape. The tracker shows them I am alive. He paused, voice trembling. And where I am. The humans exchanged nervous glances. Even their steady breathing changed, becoming shallow and alert. They were trained soldiers, used to threats, but this was something different. This was a threat from another world. Mira spoke calmly, but her eyes held worry. Can they follow the signal here? To Earth? Caloran nodded slowly. Yes. They will send someone. They always do. The vehicle fell silent. Outside, the city lights grew brighter. Tall buildings rose into the sky like metal mountains. Cars moved along the roads like glowing insects. To Caloran, it looked like a living machine, a place full of noise, life, and warmth. But inside him, cold fear sat heavy. When they arrived at the research facility, the giant doors opened with a mechanical hiss. A group of scientists and soldiers rushed forward, their faces mixed with shock and excitement. They had never seen anything like Caloran. He felt many eyes on him, curious eyes, careful eyes, but not hateful ones. That alone surprised him. Mira guided him gently. We'll check your wounds first. Then the tracker. Inside the medical room, soft white lights glowed above him. Machines hummed quietly. A doctor scanned Caloran's chest, frowning at the results. The device is advanced, he said, tapping his screen. Far more complex than our technology. Mira looked at Caloran. Can it be removed? Caloran took a slow breath. If you remove it, they will know. The tracking stops, and then they send hunters. Myra's hands froze. Hunters, she repeated. Caloran nodded once. They don't ask questions. They don't talk. They just end the target. Another wave of silence swept through the room. It was like a cold wind passing over their hearts. Hours passed. Caloran was given food, water, and a warm bed. The humans spoke to him gently, asked him questions about his world, and listened carefully when he answered. They did not call him a criminal or a monster. They did not judge him by his appearance. For the first time, Caloran felt something he had almost forgotten. Trust. Mira visited him again, carrying a small tablet. She sat near his bed, offering a soft smile. You're safe here, Caloran, she said. Earth doesn't harm guests. Caloran looked at her, confused. Why help me? You don't know who I am. Mira thought for a moment, then said, sometimes you don't need to know everything to be kind. That's what humans do when someone is in trouble. Her words felt like sunlight after years of darkness. But the warmth did not last long. The facility suddenly shook, just a small vibration, like thunder far away. Scientists rushed to their stations. Warning lights flashed along the hallway. Myra's face went pale. That was not thunder. A soldier ran in. We detected an unidentified object entering the atmosphere. Fast. Too fast. Caloran stood up instantly. His chest tightened. He knew this feeling too well. A hunter ship, he whispered. The room filled with tension. Humans stared at each other, fear passing through them like electricity. How powerful? Mira asked. Caloran closed his eyes, remembering the weapon systems of his world. The drones. The laser nets. The silent blades. Enough to destroy this entire building, he said quietly. But then, something unexpected happened. The soldier stepped forward. Then we protect him, he said firmly. Another soldier nodded. He's under our care now. And Mira added, on Earth, we don't abandon people. Not even aliens. Caloran felt something rise inside him, something he had never felt on his own planet. Belonging. Outside, the clouds glowed red as something cut through the sky like a burning spear. Alarms screamed across the base. Humans ran to positions, preparing defenses, ready to fight even though their weapons were weaker than the hunters. Caloran watched them and felt his chest tighten, not from fear, but from emotion. They were willing to risk everything for him. He stepped toward Mira. Your people will die if they fight alone. Then help us, she said softly. We trust you. Caloran looked at the glowing sky, where the hunter ship descended like a predator. He clenched his fists. For the first time, he said quietly, someone trusts me. I will not let that trust break. And as the hunter ship screamed toward Earth, Caloran made his choice. He would stand with the humans. He would fight for them. Because they were the first ones who ever treated him like family. The night sky over Earth turned red as the hunter ship descended like a burning star. Every alarm in the research base screamed at once. Soldiers rushed to positions. Scientists ran to safety. Lights flashed along the walls like warning fireflies. Mira stood beside Caloran, breathing fast but staying brave. This is it, she whispered. The hunter is here. Caloran felt a deep chill in his bones. On his planet, hunter ships were feared even by warriors. They were fast, silent, and merciless. Designed to capture or kill. Never negotiate. Never hesitate. A voice echoed from the speakers, all units prepare for contact. Lock down the base. Metal doors slammed shut. Shields powered up. Humans armed themselves with weapons that looked small compared to alien technology, but their eyes were steady. They were ready to fight for him. Caloran felt something shift inside him. A warmth. A responsibility. These humans, small, fragile compared to his kind, were choosing to stand with him, even knowing death might be coming. He could not let them fight alone. The ground trembled as the hunter ship landed outside the base, sending a shockwave through the walls. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lights flickered. A deep, mechanical thud echoed across the distance. Soldiers watched the screens as the ship opened. A tall figure stepped out, thin, armored, with glowing red symbols across its helmet. Its body moved with unnatural precision. It was not just a soldier. It was a purge hunter. The worst kind. One soldier whispered, "That thing isn't alive, is it?" Caloran shook his head. "Alive enough to kill. It was built to finish targets like me." The hunter raised a weapon shaped like a long blade mixed with energy coils. It scanned the area, its helmet flashing. It had already found the tracker signal. And it knew Caloran was inside. The base fired first. Powerful spotlights lit the hunter. Turrets shot energy rounds. Explosions erupted around it. Smoke covered the field. For a moment, silence. Then the hunter walked out of the smoke, untouched. It raised its arm and fired a thin beam that sliced through a turret like paper. Another shot destroyed the outer gates. Soldiers backed away, shocked. "Our weapons aren't working," someone shouted. Mira turned to Caloran. "Can you stop it?" Caloran's heart hammered. He remembered the hunter's weaknesses, small, but real. "Yes," he said. "But I need something." Mira stepped closer. "Anything." Caloran took a deep breath. "I need your trust again. And control of your power grid." Minutes later, Caloran stood inside the central engineering room with Mira and a team of technicians. Wires sparked. Screens glowed with warning signals. Caloran pointed at the main power system. "Your energy is weaker than my people's technology, but it is unstable. Humans build with emotion, they build with fear, hope, chaos. That makes it unpredictable." Mira nodded quickly. "And unpredictable might hurt the hunter." "Exactly." He began connecting wires together, creating circuits the humans didn't understand. The lights flickered. Sparks snapped in the air. "What are you doing?" Mira asked. Caloran's eyes glowed. "Making your power angry." Outside, the hunter broke through the first barricade. Soldiers opened fire again, trying to slow it down. Some were thrown aside by shockwaves. Others stood their ground, refusing to run. It kept coming. Step by step. Until it reached the main entrance. The giant metal doors glowed red as it began cutting through them. Inside, Caloran shouted, "Now! Activate the grid." Mira slammed the control switch. A massive wave of unstable human energy surged through the building, into the metal walls, into the floor, into the air, straight toward the hunter. The machine froze. Its red lights flickered. Its armor cracked with sparks. Caloran smiled weakly. Human power is messy. Very hard for alien tech to handle. For the first time, the hunter took a step back. But then, it changed. Its body shifted. Plates opened. A second layer of armor unfolded with a chilling metallic click. "It adapted," Caloran whispered, horrified. "This hunter is newer, stronger." The hunter lifted its blade, ready to strike again. Humans backed away. Fear filled their eyes. And then something happened no one expected. Caloran stepped forward. Alone. He walked past the soldiers, past the broken doors, past the sparks. The hunter stared at him, scanning, analyzing. Caloran lifted his hands. "I will not run," he said calmly. "But you will not harm them." The hunter tilted its head, processing his words. Mira shouted from behind, "Caloran! Don't go alone." But he didn't stop. For the first time in his life, Caloran felt brave, not because he wanted to survive, but because he had something to protect. He had a family now. Not by blood, but by choice. The hunter raised its weapon, and Caloran prepared for the final strike. But far above Earth, unseen by anyone, a second, larger signal appeared on the radar. Another ship. Something powerful. Something unexpected. And it was getting closer. The hunter's glowing blade hovered inches from Caloran's chest. Its red eyes scanned him, reading every detail of his body, his heartbeat, his temperature, his fear. But Caloran did not step back. He stood tall. Behind him, the humans watched, helpless but ready. Mira held her breath. Soldiers aimed their weapons even though they knew they could not stop the hunter. The building buzzed with fear and tension. The hunter raised its arms slowly. But then, a deep rumble shook the air. The ground trembled. Light flashed through the clouds. Everyone looked up. A second ship pierced through the atmosphere, larger than the hunter ship, much older, and covered with symbols of a forgotten order. Caloran's eyes widened. "No, it can't be." Mira grabbed his arm. "Is it more of your people?" Caloran shook his head slowly. "Not exactly. This ship belongs to the old Guardians. They protect the galaxy, but they never interfere. They only appear when a great injustice is done." The hunter paused, sensing the new arrival. Its red lights flickered with confusion. This was not part of its mission. The sky cracked open as the Guardian ship landed gently behind the base, sending waves of wind through the trees. The giant doors on the vessel opened with a bright golden light. A tall figure stepped out, cloaked, ancient, powerful. Its armor was marked by age, yet its presence felt like a living storm. Caloran bowed instinctively. "High Guardian Sereth." The Guardian raised a hand. "Stand, Caloran. You have suffered enough." Mira whispered, "He knows you." "He watches everything," Caloran replied softly. Sereth walked toward the hunter. His voice was calm, but each word carried weight. "You were sent to destroy an innocent." The hunter did not move. "You obey corrupt leaders," Sereth continued. "You serve lies." A burst of golden energy shot from Sereth's hand, hitting the hunter in the chest. The machine staggered. Sparks exploded across its armor. Its systems glitched violently. The hunter tried to stand straight, but its programming could not fight the truth. Finally, the machine shut down and collapsed like a broken statue. Humans gasped with relief. Mira exhaled sharply. "It's over." But Sereth shook his head. The hunter was only the beginning. More will come. Your leaders want Caloran dead so their secrets remain hidden. Caloran stepped forward. "Then let them come. I will fight. I am not afraid." Sereth turned to the humans. "And you? Will you protect him? Even if it brings danger to your world?" The humans looked at each other. Soldiers straightened their backs. Mira stepped closer to Caloran. "Yes," she said firmly. "We protect him. He is not a threat. He is our friend." Caloran felt a heavy emotion swell inside his chest, something he never felt on his homeworld. Belonging. Sereth studied the humans for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "You humans are strange. You protect those the galaxy has abandoned. You show kindness when others choose hate. This is why your world still has hope." He placed his hand on Caloran's shoulder. "You were rejected by your planet. But here, you are valued. That makes Earth your true home." Caloran's throat tightened. They accepted me, when my own people cast me out. Mira smiled gently. That's what family does. Sareth stepped back as his ship powered up. Caloran, your life now belongs with the humans. I will hide your signal and erase your record. Your old planet will no longer know you exist. Caloran felt tears in his eyes, rare for his species. Thank you. With them, Sareth said, pointing to the humans, you will learn who you truly are. The Guardian ship lifted into the sky, glowing brighter and brighter until it vanished completely. Silence fell. Then Mira placed her hand on Caloran's arm. So, what now? Caloran looked at the destroyed hunter, then at the humans, then at the bright planet around him. For the first time, he felt free, not lost, not hunted, not rejected. Free. He straightened his back and spoke softly but with strength. I choose Earth. I choose humans. I choose, my new family. The soldiers cheered. Mira laughed with relief. The tension melted away like morning mist. Caloran looked up at the stars, his old home somewhere far away, and smiled. They rejected me, he said quietly. But here. I am finally home. And for the first time in his life, he wasn't afraid of the future. He was excited for it.